Dude, I don't understand. Like, everything about Arcane is so... Arcane as a show, to me, feels like a show where creativity was like chosen first, I guess, right? Like,
Yeah.
and it felt like they didn't hold anything back on animation, on the story, and a lot of these things. Like, it felt like this like very finely crafted, tuned piece of art, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But then randomly, someone decided to take that beautiful, pristine piece of art and just take a nail, which is Imagine Dragons, and just forced it right into the... What's up, guys? You're listening to the Niisan podcast, episode 34. I'm Xell and Crim.
And I'm Crim, also known as the Asian Avenger. So, we've got a lot of stuff this week, but before we get into like the news, and of course, you know, if you couldn't figure it out, this is going to be our second reaction today to Arcane, second act, I think.
Second act.
So
yeah.
episodes 4, 5, and 6. But yeah, before we get right into that, you know, we're trying out a few new setups along the way because we're doing this all in person. We're trying to just get in the vibe of it right. But I think we have an idea of what we're gonna do. You're looking at something. What is like this is like, think of this like the rough draft of what
we're on like V3.
Yeah,
you know when you save projects and you're like, oh, this is final.
Yeah.
We're on final 3.
Yeah, we're on final 3, and you know, if there's any like, you know, let us know. Did you like the previous setup? Do you like the desk? I think we personally like the desk more, and so we're gonna lean in that direction. And of course, the audio will be, I think, will be a lot cleaner in the next week. So if you know.
Backstory, we bought these sweet lavalier mics, and I've been crying for the last hour because it doesn't seem like it's working very well for us. So we're going to go back to our desktop mics, but we're going to probably use this desk setup in the near foreseeable future. So thanks for hanging in there. You guys are watching us evolve from a Metapod to a beautiful Butterfree.
To a beautiful bee drill. From, you know, exactly, the Metapod evolution.
That's, of course, how that works. So yeah, anyways, thanks for hanging in there with us. And as always, if you guys are enjoying our Niisan podcast episodes, which come out every week, you know, give us a follow, give us a subscribe, all that stuff.
All the call to actions, you know, hit them, the dingle dangle, the bell.
The dingle dangle.
The dingle dingle, the dingling. Whatever you want to call it.
Okay, and we're going to go into our news segment, the Weeb Weekly.
Right after the ding-a-ling. All right, nice. Okay. Well, so actually, we had a decent amount of some interesting news. I don't think we had a surge in news last week, but now we actually have a few tidbits, but the tidbits we did get are pretty big.
Yeah. So first up, last week they announced the Netflix live action of One Piece. And they revealed the cast members, and again, this is similar to Cowboy Bebop, in which I'm just like, who asked for this? Why do they keep doing this?
You asked for this.
I did not ask for this.
Okay.
Explicitly, I'm pretty sure someone roll back an episode or two, but I'm pretty sure I did not ask for this.
Maybe it's what you needed.
No, if it is. You know.
Okay. Well, before we go like fully into, let's hit them with the details. Okay. Like, yeah. Okay. First off, before we get into like the bit of it, I do think that yes, it is a little ambitious that they're going right into another live action, right?
Yeah.
But you know, as you already know, I'm not a fan of like most of the live actions that have come out, but. If Cowboy Bebop has shown anything, and it is that, you know, they seem to care, it seems to come from a place of love and whatnot. But why don't we just start with some of the casting already?
Yeah. So I don't know any of these actors, but we have Inaki Godoy as Monkey D. Luffy. We have Makenyu as Zoro. We have Emily Rudd as Nami.
She's great. She's great. She's in Fear Street. If you haven't seen Fear Street, watch it.
Gotcha. Jacob Romero Gibson as Usopp, and Taz Skylar as Sanji. They did like a little like, I don't know, for better, like lack of better word, they had like a little Twitter video where they were all like, oh, I'm excited. And you know, I could see it, the energy that they bring to the individual characters. Like I can kind of see it, but I will say that it is going to be so hard to do this live action, and specifically because like One Piece is so out there, And unlike Cowboy Bebop, which I think is like largely grounded in, just kind of like real people stuff, right?
Yeah.
And they fight with guns in their hands. And like they're generally like people, right?
Yeah.
One Piece is not like that. Your main character, Luffy, stretches.
Mr. Fantastic. Just make it look like that.
Oh yeah, and that did well.
Fair.
Yeah, do it like
Fair. Just like Mr. Fantastic, the hit movie, The Fantastic Four.
And so, in any case, like I think I'm worried about this one because I think that One Piece is something that I think out of the popular shonen that exists, I think this one's going to be really, really hard to hit the tone of, the special effects for, and whatnot. But we'll see. I don't even believe in the Cowboy Bebop thing, which apparently has a little bit of news, right? Because I think, Crim, you want to take this one?
So we recently have read at the time of filming this that, a few other media sites like IGN and stuff like that, they got a little bit of a sneak peek. They watched a few of the, I think they got to watch the whole season. And
the whole thing.
So far, it seems like the whole thing. The main complaint, it seems that the response to it has been overall positive, but it's not like gonna blow your mind, like oh my God, this is Cowboy Bebop. But the thing that is actually a standout is Faye. Apparently, Faye was really well done, so I'm excited to see what becomes of it. And by the time this episode goes up, I think, because Cowboy Bebop airs on the 19th.
Oh.
So actually, by the time you'll watch this, you'll then be seeing our first reaction to Cowboy Bebop probably sometime shortly after. But right now, the initial first response is that it's not that bad. It's pretty good. Now, not that bad is obviously not a great selling point, but not that bad for an anime live action adaptation. That's pretty good. Right? I mean, dude, the bar is really low, and maybe I'm just I'm looking at the silver linings here, but I think that's a good thing. And it shows that the issue is not actually the cast. Most of the early reactions are all about the stuff they try to do to make it seem different than the anime.
I mean, I think that is a good thing for the show to try to not one-for-one the thing, because you're just not going to be able to replicate it, right? So, I think going in their own direction and whatever, I think those are good things. It's just going to be about, did you capture the heart of the show, the spirit of the show, and whatnot? And obviously, we've talked about this quite a bit in previous episodes, and it's well, okay, you hired the music person who did the original, you've done some of the legwork there to try to recapture that spirit, but it'll be in the execution. So yeah, I don't know. I'm still holding it that it probably won't be that good, and I don't trust IGN and sort of these bigger retailer sort of review places, right?
It could be bought.
Yeah, I mean it's that, and oftentimes I feel like with these review places that they have to consume so much stuff, and they're not as I guess hardcore enthusiasts of the thing that they're watching. But I don't know, we'll see. I mean, Cowboy Bebop is so popular that if it I think it'd be really likely that the person who's reviewing it probably have actually watched the original and all that. So yeah, I don't know. We'll see.
The biggest praise is from IGN and other reviews that I've read is that the cast nailed it.
Yeah,
the cast is very good, and that's exactly all you can really ask for, right? So hell yeah.
Other news. So if you guys have watched Squid Game, the show that I hear about a lot that's alongside Squid Game is Alice in Borderland. And apparently the new season of Alice in Borderland is coming out very soon. I believe, next year, December. I read the year wrong.
That's soon, though.
A year from now.
December of next year.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, so I guess they just announced that season 2 is gonna premiere, but for people who liked Alice in Borderland. Did you watch Alice in Borderland at all?
Not yet, but I did watch Sweet Home, and I'm wondering where my second season of Sweet Home is.
So
come on, Netflix. I don't know what you're doing, but give me that Sweet Home season 2 that I've been waiting for. That's the show. It's got the horror, it's got the creatures. I don't know anything about Alice in Borderland, but I heard it's pretty good too, so I just got to get around to watching it.
Yeah, I haven't finished it. I have my own thoughts on the show, but maybe we'll do that in another podcast. But we're gonna get now into the heart of what we want to talk about today, which is
Another
Act 2.
Netflix.
Yeah, another Netflix killing it out here. Act 2 of Arcane, which is the League of Legends show about the origins of like Jinx and Vi and such.
Yeah.
And so episodes 4, 5, and 6. What were your sort of first impressions?
Well, I mean, like, did I mention I've just always been like a League fan?
Yeah.
I love League. I've just always been number one fan.
Number one, yeah.
Like number one League fan. Like, oh, you don't know that, but I have a foam finger. Just League of Legends 1. But okay. So I kind of liked it, as in a lot. I really like this show now. Like, it almost makes me want to like League of Legends, right? Like the game itself. But episode 4, I think, brings us right back into it. It's actually like, it does a little bit more of like building to see where, everybody, like where the time gap is, right? Where they are now. And I thought episode 4 was a very good like re-entry, like back into like their stories, right?
Yeah.
They did a really good job with that. And I mean, now you get to see Jinx, who is like kind of become Jinx, right? Like she's accepted that, and you get to see Silico like kind of just like be her father mentor figure. And I mean, and most importantly, I think this was the one thing I wanted to see the most, which would be Vi. Where is Vi? How is Vi in all of this? So now we kind of get to see what Vi has been up to, and that has been the most important. That's the story that I've been wanting to follow.
Yeah, I think as a League of Legends player in particular, this little time skip that happens between Act 1 and 2 brings us closer to the Jinx and Vi and even Caitlyn and all the characters a little bit closer to where we see it. Yeah. Caitlyn's a League of Legends character.
Oh, wait. In Legends of Runeterra. Hold on. No.
We're seeing it live on television right now. Crim having the epiphany.
I think that's the same character. I don't know. Maybe it isn't. But I think I saw Caitlyn in Legends of Runeterra.
Yeah. So do I say other characters that exist in League of Legends?
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
So Jace is also a League of Legends character, and so is Victor.
Okay, I'm gonna be honest. I have no idea what I don't think I've seen them, so that is lost on me. I'm like, I know you're all looking at me like, but I have no clue.
Yeah. So, but let's just say, as a League of Legends perspective, Jinx has always been super crazy, and I think this act we get to see a little bit more of the, I guess, I don't know what you call schizophrenic side of Jinx a little bit, where she's paranoid. She sees like her dead companions all the time, like in her head, and she needs help. She needs help.
Yeah.
And I think, but Jinx is developing into this thing, and we continue to see Vi's relationship, with Jinx and how much she wants to help, and then more so yet, the relationship between Vi and Caitlyn, which is interesting as well. So I don't know. I think this act was less like action heavy, because I think the first act was like there was a lot of action. I think in comparison to there's the initial chase scene, there's a bunch of fights that happen, and like obviously the big event that happens in episode 3. 4, 5, and 6 is much more about just characters, right? Just like building out the characters into who they are becoming. Like, so we talked about Jinx, and she is again closer. She's a little more insane. Vi, who is more standoffish, if that was even possible.
Yeah.
But she like. It's cool because Caitlyn, we finally get a more of an introduction of Caitlyn, and she's sort of this inquisitive sheriff who, even though she's highborn, she wants to get into the mud and like actually try to help people from the ground up, which is cool. I really liked her character. And then on the flip side, on like the plot B, I guess, with Jace and Victor, we see Jace's sort of corruption, for lack of a better term, with like the political side of Piltover, and Victor too. We find out, hey, he's actually dying, and and it's very clear that like this hex tech and this hex core is, specifically is sort of the source of what maybe will lead him to being able to live. And I think both these kind of subplots between will Jinx and Vi make up, will Jason and Victor figure out their hextech thing, like both of those stories developed all of the characters quite a bit. And I think some people were kind of upset with Jace, and that's understandable, I think, considering like he's corrupted, man. He's deep in politics now.
Are you surprised? I mean, he's perfect for politics, right?
Yeah.
I mean, like that's exactly what you expect when you would get into politics, right? Like, so, I mean, like the Victor and Jace story arc seems to be like at this time in episode 4, it seemed to be unfolding kind of nicely.
Mm-hmm.
I did like seeing that, like he's now, see what Jace is like with power, right?
Yeah.
And then of course, I do think that the Vi and Jinx confrontation.
Oh yeah.
I think that was really good. That was exactly like what I wanted to see. They didn't delay that into like a later episode. So all around, like this episode 4 has been super solid, but it felt way more like Jace Victor heavy to me, right?
Yeah.
Like it felt like it was definitely like, okay, well this is everything that's going on in Piltover, right? We need to like do something. We need to get this hex tech done. And now it makes sense why, Victor, because, who is revealed to be dying, like it makes sense why he was in a rush to back, like Jace in his journey and stuff like that, right? So
I think now that we know there's only 3 episodes left, I'm actually a little nervous because there's so much ground to cover in these next 3 episodes. And because right now in 4, 5, and 6, we have Jinx and Vi and their relationship. And we have like the fact that Jinx and, or Vi and Caitlyn got kidnapped by like what I think is Echo, right? It has to be, right? It feels like his color palette and...
I don't know what an Echo is.
Oh, he's the little kid from... And so I think it like the people who were flying around on those flying skateboards and stuff, I think that's Echo and gang. And so it seems like he captured those 2. So that subplot is going. We have the Jace and Medarda subplot going. We have Victor and Singed and their sort of subplot going. And then Heimerdinger, who's got stabbed in the back so hard by Jace. I think that was the moment where I was like, Jace, you.
That was episode 6, right? That's the end of episode 6, I think so. Somewhere around there. And like, oh man, that was really brutal. I just like, it was kind of really sad seeing Heimerdinger. I can't remember his name. Like Heimerdinger, right?
Yeah,
like,
Heimerdinger.
Okay. Heimerdinger and his like sad expression when he gets voted off the council was absolutely heartbreaking. But before all of that, I think we got to get right into the like parts of like episode 5, right? Because like episode 4 kind of like opened up the season, or the second act. But I think episode 5, there's a lot of meat there. And like there's also the sexual tension buildup, that between like I don't know if you know this. I learned about the birds and the bees from League of Legends.
Oh yeah.
I watched that episode and it's like, oh, is that what happens? Okay, cool, dude. But like we read the comments, right? And one of the comments we read was like that the Arcane didn't show that much of the magic yet, right? But I think that what it was just delayed. And now, if you're listening or watching, I feel like 4, 5, and 6 really did a good job of showing us more magic, right?
Yeah.
And 5 especially, and the magic wasn't just like in a hex tech sense; it was also in the bedroom, and then and so like like episode 5 was a banger,
I tweeted out after I watched it, and I was like, "Damn, League of Legends just went horny on man."
I'm all for it, right? Like they're adults, right? They're consenting adults. It's natural that they, knock boots every now and then, right?
That scene, by the way, was so contentious, I think, because I think the first act, they were exploring Jason and Victor's relationship, and I think people were off shipping those 2, right? And so, but I think what's interesting is that the actual like sex scene itself was to show that sort of like Jace was turning his back on Victor, and they juxtaposed like the scene with Victor just studying, working his ass off, trying to save himself, and like
while Jace was elsewhere.
Yeah. Yeah, he was
Knee
he was
deep, balls
busy.
deep. I mean, whatever. Whatever else there is.
Yeah, so I know people were a little pissed because I think a lot of people expected Jason Victor to maybe potentially be a thing, and yeah, I don't know.
Well, you know, if you're shipping Jason Victor, maybe that's not entirely out of the cards, right? I mean, it's not entirely out of the cards.
It's true. It's true. We don't know.
Because here's the main thing: it's politics. Mm-hmm. I cannot remember her name, but who Jace ends up hooking up with. Medarda. I think that Medarda has a plan. And I think that there's something there. I don't know what she would get. You know, maybe she's like trying to like, you know, get extra close to Jace, right?
Yeah.
So I think that something's going to happen. And it's going to have a falling out. Now, of course, I don't know if there's anything in the lore naturally, and this is all just speculation. But I just feel like because it's politics, I cannot trust another politician.
Yeah, I mean, we're in uncharted territory, so coming from League, like, I don't know either. My assumption is that Medarda, I mean, she's very clearly the schemer of the show, right? Like, she's the one trying to manipulate everything, and she succeeds. She gets Jace to basically overthrow Heimerdinger, who is sort of the stodgy conservative of the council. And I imagine, because Jace still clearly wants to do the right thing, but I think he also understands that political power is necessary for the change that he wants to do. It's just not as immediate as like Victor needs it to be, right?
Right.
When Victor's life is literally, you know, at risk. So my prediction, and I don't know if this is actually going to happen, is that Medarda's going to do something, and Jason's going to be like, oh, no, this is not how I planned this to be. And they're going to fight, and he's going to try to save Victor, but it's going to be too late, and Victor's going to be off on the deep end. Because Victor, at the end of episode 6, we get to see his upbringing. By the way, Victor is probably like one of my favorite characters in the entire show right now. Like, I love his depth of character and sort of like how he... I love some of the little personality quirks that he shows throughout the series. You know, like I love when Jason and Victor are breaking into Heimerdinger's lab and stuff, and he's looking at the keys and he's going, "Oh, I didn't realize my bedroom wasn't here." It's like, Victor, what the?
Victor has like some just really quick, you know, like
just
lines
like little
right
moments.
there.
Yeah. I love also when he's in the backstage of Jason's speech and he's like all getting like excited to show his stuff. And anyways, Victor's adorable and I love him.
Just like when, what is it, Victor's working, and then, you know, and then the other coworker comes up, like, and trying to ask him to, like, you know, hey, like, ask him, and he just goes, good night.
Yeah. Be gone. But yeah, like, he goes to Singed, and so coming from League of Legends again, Singed is a League of Legends character, and
That's the scientist dude?
He's the mad scientist, and
okay.
We know he's not up to any ethical good, so.
I mean, you can tell by whatever's in that, like, tank that he's in. Like, you know what I mean? That cryogenic tank. Who knows, right?
But he's kind of Victor's last hope. So we'll see how far Victor gets pushed into Singe's madness, and we'll see if Jace can pull free from Medarda to save Victor. I guess that's like the big question mark.
I think the way that everything is paced to, like, from this show so far, like from episode 4, 5, and then 6 also along with it, it's definitely building up to some big showdown.
Yeah.
And I'm really excited, but there's lots of things that are also I didn't get to mention yet, which is I really feel like this second act has had some very cool stylistic transitions between scenes. Whether it was in episode 6 when you saw them like jump down a tube and it transitioned from them sliding down a tube into like that, like a bullet like sliding into a barrel.
Oh yeah.
Like I thought that was actually just really cool transition work. Because like I just love that in anything, a music video, a show, a movie. Like I think one of my favorite things is like a My Chemical Romance music video. It was for Ghost of You, and it's like they're on the dance floor and the water kind of converges onto the dance floor and then becomes the war zone where they're running up, and it's like, you know, like D-Day, all that stuff.
Yeah.
So I thought that was just, I love it when a movie or a show does that. But one of the things in was it episode 5? I think it was.
I think it was. I know exactly what you're about to talk about.
So we already kind of are like, yeah, let's dial it back on the Imagine Dragons, right?
That's not what they did. I mean, good for them. It's cool. Like I would love to be part, cameo in Arcane or something like that. That would be super freaking cool. But yeah, that was a really awkward time. Dude, I don't understand. Like everything about Arcane is so... Arcane as a show to me feels like a show where creativity was like chosen first, I guess, right? Like, and it felt like they didn't hold anything back on animation, on the story, and a lot of these things. Like it felt like this like very finely crafted, tuned piece of art, right?
Yeah.
But then randomly, someone decided to take that beautiful, pristine piece of art and just take a nail, which is Imagine Dragons, and just forced it right into the middle of it. And I was like, did we need that? Like, because episode 5, I think it was episode 5, where there's this highly tense moment where it seems like Jinx is sort of at her rope's end too, where she has to decide if she's going to fully give into this like Silco transformation that he wants Jinx to go through, or does Jinx still hold on to her inner powder and look for Vi one last time, right? And in that moment, like I remember seeing it being like, oh man, this is going to be such a heart-wrenching moment, and it is, and then suddenly
the music plays.
Oh wait, am I getting it wrong?
That's episode 6. I think,
no,
right?
it was Vi looking after the. She was trying to get back at that one lady.
Yeah, you're talking
with the
about
bionicle arm.
Yeah, the one that actually has the injector of the serum.
Still very like tense scene, because this is now Vi who's been in prison for so long and realizing what has occurred. Like, because Vi's coming out and it's a whole new world, right? Like the last drop, the bar that they used to be at is now like an EDM dance club thing, and. The world has changed so much around her, and there's this incredibly tense moment where she finally is going to be able to start taking her steps to her revenge, and then suddenly it's an Imagine Dragons music video, and I'm just like, wait.
And that's what's happened since you've been in jail. Imagine Dragons. That's what happened. Look, don't go to jail, and that's the problem. If you hadn't gone to jail, that wouldn't have happened.
So yeah, I don't understand, right?
I agree with all that, right? Like, and that's my issue. I don't understand why either. Like, League and Riot has always had good music, right? Like, I just don't understand what happened with Arcane. Yeah. And I think like the music of it, like. You can say that, oh, maybe because we're both like kind of really into music that we're being nitpicky, but I actually, but like I genuinely think the music takes away from the scene.
Yeah,
it's
agree.
Distracting. It feels out of place. I really don't know, and it doesn't get any better either, because in episode 6, it detracts even more from the most like heart-wrenching scene for me.
Yeah.
When Vi eventually, because Vi had told, Powder when she was younger, if anything ever happens, shoot this, what essentially is a flare off, and I'll come find you, no matter what. And so, as Jinx wants to see Vi one more time to, figure out things for herself, okay, cool. So her and Vi meet, and right when her and Vi, when Jinx fires off the flare, this weird ass music comes in that was meant to be, I think, like a moving kind of like an anthem-like, but also like kind of like melancholy, kind of like feeling song comes in. But at least that's what the vibe they wanted. But I think it missed the mark entirely. It just slowed the scene down. It didn't seem to like sync up with the scenes that were like at least sync it with the footsteps or something of like the characters walking. But it didn't feel right. And so I don't know. It seems like that's the trend for Arcane right now. A lot of the music is just not where it should be.
Yeah, I think that scene didn't bother me as much, but it did kind of take me off guard a little bit. I like the initial like music swell into the flare, because that scene was, by the way, just gorgeous. Like when the flare goes off and the blue just kind of like swirls up and like it's like fireworks going out. Like I thought that scene was really beautiful, but then that whole music sort of extends on into more things, and I guess a little bit it took me out here and there, but yeah, I guess like, again, just overall, if I was to point out a singular weakness of Arcane so far, like I definitely think that the music choices have been sort of strange to me. Yeah, and like they're not only just like strange, I feel like, maybe they are strange, but they just flat out don't fit. Yeah. And I just don't understand why that is, because like Riot has good music.
So I just don't understand that. Other than that, though, I mean, like so far, like episodes 4, 5, and 6 continue on with what I love from 1, 2, and 3. I mean, you still get the same beautiful animation as you had mentioned. When she fires off that flare, oh man. And of course, that moment when Vi and like Jinx meet up, when Vi and Jinx meet up, oh.
Yes.
That was such a good scene. That was such a moving scene. That was exactly what I wanted. It looked beautiful. It was all I could really ask for. I mean, like, holy crap, that was good. I don't even, the funniest thing here is like, I'm not even like huge on anything like League of Legends, but I will reiterate it again. This show single-handedly makes me want to play. And that scene right there I feel like, I'm curious like how many people pick Vi and Jinx right now.
It's funny because there are stats that show that there's just like a huge increase in people playing Vi and Jinx because of the show.
You know, that would make sense because like, dude, like that show is like so good that it's got so many people actually logging back in again.
Those poor souls who watched Arcane and was like, yeah, I want to play League of Legends again. You poor things. They got you hook, line, and sinker. You realize that show has sent more people to the Shadow Realm than Yugi?
Yeah, probably yes. Because when you log into League, it's a very different experience than watching Arcane. Let's go with that.
Yeah. Okay. So, did you watch the preview, by the way, of the stuff that's coming up?
I did.
Because it seems like we are in for a giant conflict, and from the League of Legends side, if you watch the preview, there was a lot of like red in the trailer, and red is highly, I guess, personified by Noxus, which is a warring state in a different part of.
They have a burn deck.
Yes. And they're sort of like the very militant. They're kind of like the Garleans in Final Fantasy XIV. They're like highly militant, very much. They're not like a chaotic evil faction necessarily, but they are very much like willing to throw down the iron fist, right?
Yeah.
And people are thinking or I guess theorizing that Noxus might be involved. And that there might be just some huge conflict, like a big war might break out between Piltover and Noxus and obviously Zon. So I don't know. I still feel like 4, 5, and 6, because I think this act was so much about just each individual character's transformations, right? Like Caitlyn learning to be less naive, Jace learning the political system, Victor, who's dying, that's a transformation.
Dying is a transformation.
Jinx, if she's gonna hold on to Vi as her sister or not. Like each character goes through a transformation, and now when we get onto how it all comes back together, like I feel like there's so much ground to cover. So
I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't think they're gonna cover all of it.
Yeah.
I know that it's summed up as like, it's going to be 9 episodes total and whatever. The third act is going to be the final act, but I just don't think they're going to close that. They're going to tie that up. They have to leave it open-ended.
Do you think they're going to keep it open-ended for season 2? Do you think like this is going to be like a long-form potential series, or do you think that they're just going to like try to cut it short? Because I could see either, TBH.
I think they're going to leave it open-ended. There's no way they can tie up all of this. I think what it's all going to do is just going to set up a lot of pieces, which I think can be problematic. Like, I think...
I'd be really sad, honestly.
I would too, because I have a strong feeling, though, that they're just building up, right? So let's say if they bring this Noxus faction in or this other place, right?
Yeah.
That would make sense, right? Then that would give you, the warring factions that you would need, right? Because then, you don't, Piltover, but you don't see Piltover actually, like, moving. It would incentivize them to, like, quickly weaponize Hex magic, right? So this is like, Noxus would be the perfect reason for that, right? Oh, a war's coming. Okay, well, now we need to get Hex magic out there as soon as possible. And then you fast track it, and therein lies the rift between Jace and maybe Medarda, right? So like I think that all of that would make sense right there.
Yeah.
And I just don't think that like, the Vi and like I think there's only gonna be one thread that gets resolved, and it might just be Vi and Jinx. And that is and my prediction is that it's going to end with them fully just knowing that they are not sisters anymore.
Yeah.
We're not going to get the ending we want. And like knowing nothing about the game, I don't know where they end up. I can tell you that I just feel like they are not going to end up as sisters, however this ends.
So what's funny is that I think it was recently announced that like that Arcane itself is only canon-ish. So it's like everything that happens in Arcane is close to being canon, but there will be adjustments that won't make it fully canon. So like the end product might not just be where the League of Legends characters are now, because the way they are now, I'll put it this way, no one has a happy ending. So
Great.
So like I don't know if that's what they'll end up doing for Arcane. But yeah, I could totally I hope they wrap it up, because I think like when you draw, if you know, I forgot what show it's from. If I'm the crazy guy trying to draw all the different lines together.
Always Sunny?
It's Always Sunny, yeah.
Yeah.
Like you have Jinx, who is clearly somehow more understands how to use that crystal for weapons, right?
Right.
And so she's probably the key to figuring out Jason Victor's stuff from the Hextech side, because they're going to see, oh, she's been able to use it. But that's going to probably bring back Heimerdinger as like the warning person to do it, and then Midara is going to be the one being like for it, right? And that's going to drive a rift between them. Vi wants to protect Jinx because Jinx is her sister, but Caitlyn really needs Jinx to stop doing what she's doing, which is, you know, messing everything up. And
Well, she's doing a little bit more. She's kind of like a terrorist.
I mean, yeah, she 100% is.
Right.
Speaking of which, Jinx now has just straight up murdered, like so many people.
I mean, you see that, right? In episode 6 when Vi is just like watching Jinx just fire off that Gatling gun and just like killing people left and right with no like hesitation whatsoever.
Yeah.
Compared to like, you know, the powder that she knew.
Yeah. That was definitely, by the way, just a powerful moment. I think that was just generally one of my favorite scenes, just in general, when they finally meet up and it's just 3 of them, and just seeing how much has changed, I think, was cool. I forgot my entire train of thought from before. But anyways, I think like you can kind of loosely connect everything that's been happening. So I hope that they turn that into just one, you know, like swirly mix at the end and can somehow bring it to a conclusion, but we'll see.
I would like, I do believe that we're going to see the threads come together, right? Mm-hmm. You'll have the 3, all the story points and all the arcs that are open are going to converge at a point, right? But I cannot imagine, I just don't think they will, like I want them to, but I just cannot see how in 3 episodes they're going to like close all of that while presenting new issues and new problems, right? So my thing here is at the end of episode 9, they're going to slap you with the good old Marvel, the Avengers will return. Right? You're gonna see that, but it's like Jinx and all these heroes will return in season 2.
That'll make me really sad.
It has to. It just makes sense that they would want to do that.
I think coming from a fan perspective, like I would hope that they can conclude it somehow, and the next like quote unquote Arcane would be another part of the League of Legends universe. You know,
I would like that.
And instead of like trying to draw out this story for a long period of time, I want to see more stories in League of Legends. Because, like, don't get me wrong, I love Jinx and Vi. Like, they're like 2 characters that I really enjoy from the game, and like seeing this stuff is wonderful. But also, I want to see more, right? I want to see the other characters that I really love, like.
I want to see more Yordles. Zed, yeah. I want to see Yordles, Zed, Yordles, like lots of Yordles. Really, I just want a whole Yordle like show. Actually, like,
you know, if they make a League of Legends MMO, you're gonna be a Yordle.
I would 100% be a Yordle.
I mean, you're a Lalafell in Final Fantasy 14. So.
They are Yordles, right? Like
they're just furry.
Yeah, they're hairy little like Lalas. Yeah, I mean, I don't know much about the game, but when I see a Yordle, I'm just like, that's adorable. I want to be one of those.
Except that one that's like in fetish gear. The bondage gear.
There is?
Yeah, there was one because they were walking through the what I assume is a brothel, and when they're getting to that old Gordle lady with the information. Do you know remember the scene?
Yeah, but like when was there a...
There was like some dude chained up and he's like waddling by and Caitlyn's like, oh. You don't remember that scene?
That dude? Okay, oh, wait, hold on. The dude was a Yordle?
Yeah, Yeah, that had to have been who. What would that be otherwise? That's not a person. They're
I
like
guess that's
2
true.
feet tall.
Okay, maybe there was
Do you
a
think it was
yordle.
a kid?
No,
That'd be
I
worse?
mean that is much worse. I just didn't even like. You know what? It's because they're out of the line of sight. You know, they're too low to the ground, so I couldn't see them. Like, dude, like yordles are adorable. They shouldn't be in. You know what? Okay, now
Now you're king shaming the yordle.
Okay. Oh, maybe now I understand why people talk about Lalafels and then like, yo, Lalafels are a no-go on anything. I'm like, why? I don't even understand what's going on here. But oh, I get it.
So yeah, I guess overall, compared to Act 1, thumbs up, thumbs down. Like, how did you feel about it?
I think Act 2 is much better.
Oh, interesting.
Act 2 is much better, but I think it's punished or it's set back by all the crappy music that they put all over the place. Like whereas at least Act 1 had in episode 3 the ending as Vi gets hauled off, she gets arrested and hauled away, right?
Yeah.
Like that song was great. Mm-hmm. None of the music in like Act 2 has been good. Every song in Act 2 has been a detractor of the scene, and no, it's like an actual just distraction to me, and I'm just like, please turn it off. I would just mute the whole scene if I could.
No.
But other than that, I think I know that it's not as actiony, but I really do like the depth that they give the characters in this one, right? And it felt like a solid second act, and it just gave you much more stakes.
Yeah.
And you get to feel why there's a clock on Victor.
Yeah. I think Act 2 suffers from being the middle act, which is just like the development of, right? Like when you talk about like a story structure, Act 1 is the exposition. We get to see the prologue and everything, and it ends on such a high note with that amazing episode 3 conclusion. And this is much more open-ended. But like you said, I think the character work in 4, 5, and 6 is amazing. So for me, it's about the same. Like
it's just gonna be like what you want out of it, I guess.
Yeah.
See, I value the character development. I value the depth to the character.
Yeah.
So for me, that just it's the same, right? Like when I watch a superhero origin movie, I kind of already know.
Yeah.
So it's like I want to see where they go from there, right?
I see, yeah.
So I looked at Act 1 as the origin story. I may not know the full depths of the characters, but that's their origin story. Okay, cool. Got that out of the way. Now what are they going to do, right? And this is where the meat comes in, right? You get to see them develop everything. Like you see, as we had mentioned, Jinx coming grips with all the ones that she potentially killed, from her, her group and whatnot. So I just really like that. I really liked every scene that Jinx actually was the star of this entire second act right now. Like it's between Jinx and probably Vi.
She was so scary in Act 2. She was legitimately terrifying. Like she was so. I think their portrayal of Jinx I thought was like perfect. Because the Jinx that we see in the game is completely off her rocker, but in Act 2 we see sort of the struggle to remain sane, and I think seeing that, but also seeing how much she's developed into basically a killer, right? And the sort of stuff that they're juggling with her perceived innocence from Vi, with her complete lack of innocence from Silco, and then they're just juggling so many things within Jinx, and I thought they portrayed it so well.
Yeah.
And God, some of the scenes where she I forgot Bionicle Lady's name, but I love that scene too.
She started with an S. Sudevic or Sudevic?
I don't know.
Sudafil? I don't know. That doesn't start with, oh yeah, there it is.
The thing that's an allergy medication?
Yeah, that also doesn't start with an S. Wait, does it start? It doesn't. It does not.
But yeah, I love Jinx's whole portrayal as a character, and Arcane has just been such a treat as a fan of League of Legends, and I just cannot imagine how much pressure there is on these next 3 episodes.
I am not. I'm coming from the background of just somebody who's completely new, no attachment to the IP, right?
Yeah.
And maybe that's why the pressure isn't as high for me.
Yeah.
Because I'm just like, okay, cool, I'll watch another season if they leave me on a cliffhanger.
Yeah.
But I assume because you there's an attachment to, you want to see a conclusion, you want to see something to happen here.
I think people will be up in arms if these next 3 episodes aren't a banger too. I think it's gonna be like Darling in the Franxx, where people
could never be that bad. It could not be that bad.
Right? Like, we hope so. We hope so. But
no, it couldn't. Okay, well, I guess there's always a possibility. But like, legitimately, they would have to really fail at this closing
But
game.
I do think that there's a lot of pressure because I think as fans of the game, there's just a lot of expectations on where things should end up. And I think it's one of those things where if they conclude it and it feels completely different from the show, people are going to get mad. If they conclude it and it exactly follows what the thing is, I guess that's okay. But maybe a little boring in that case, right? And then if they end it and they leave it on, well, they don't end it, you know, like they leave it on a cliffhanger, people will be pissed, I think, too.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm so curious what these next 3 episodes are gonna hold because like I think there's just so much stuff that they have to cover, and I don't know if 3 episodes is necessarily enough.
I think that it's gonna be, people are gonna be let down. I maybe because we just watch enough anime to where I know better than to believe, right?
Yeah.
I know better than to believe. So I've already like kind of prematurely set myself up to be let down. I'm like, it's okay. They're probably gonna leave it on a cliffhanger or something like that, and it's gonna be miserable. But I'll wait for season 2.
Yeah, the biggest hope that I think that this show has, though, is that like I was saying earlier, this show definitely feels like a show that's gotten creative liberty to do the things that they think are necessary. And I feel that in a lot of things. And the only thing that has really caught off guard for me was the music so far. But like everything else, like the character writing, the stories and everything has been really wonderful. And I hope that they're able to close this last chapter up well.
Same. So I guess oh my God, I just thought about it right now. So as we are now approaching the end of this episode, I realized that when Act 3 goes up, I think Cowboy Bebop goes up too.
Yeah.
We're gonna be real busy.
We're gonna be binging a lot of stuff.
We're gonna be real busy. Oh my God. Oh my God.
And we still need to talk about this season of anime, so that's coming up as well. So
yeah,
a lot of content coming up for Nii-San podcast, and yeah.
But yeah, so I guess to wrap it all up, I'm a fan of, actually, as we had mentioned, Act 2 a lot more because I love the character building. I think Jinx is just the star of the show, and I feel like every scene without Jinx kind of hurts. I mean, except for, I do like Heimerdinger and Jace, but like Jinx is just so good. Like she's such a good character.
Yeah,
right?
she's really awesome in the show.
Yeah, so I liked it, and I think
I'm still very much head over heels in love with the show. So
all right then. So thanks so much for watching. And as one more thing. Once again, help us know in the comments, which, by the way, do we do the desk? Once again, do we do the desk?
I like the table.
I like the desk, because then, we get to bring all the waifus.
All the little goodies.
Yeah, all the waifus are out on display, and then I have a reason to have these, as opposed to just buying them before. Yeah, and also this one can be bald randomly. I mean, just whatever. But like, regardless, let us know. And yeah, once again, thanks for sticking through, because we're going to be correcting the audio once I think the next episode goes up. So, thanks for sticking with us, and thanks for listening to us on Spotify and all the platforms that you do check out our podcast. And as always, feel free to share. Spread it like butter all over the place. Lather yourself in it. Lather everybody you know in it. And yeah, just let everyone know about our podcast, and do the thingy as the call to action. Leave the like, subscribe, the sub, and other than that, any closing thoughts, Xell?
No, we'll see you guys next week with more Arcane, and like we said, we have a lot of stuff coming up, so hang tight.
Oh man, we do.
All right, peace out, guys. Thanks for watching.